Hi, welcome back. So, in the past few videos, we've been dealing with notes with flags on them, and specifically, we've been sort of concentrating on the eighth note, so a note with one flag on it. And in previous videos, we've been working on quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. Now, with these other types of notes, we've already gone over what an example of what rests look like in these for these other notes. So, for a quarter note, we've kind of had this example of sort of a 3 with a flag on top of it, and I still don't draw it very well, so I'll actually pull up. Give me one sec. I'm going to try to pull up an example. And actually, I'll pull up an example. This will be good. Actually, I don't know if there are any rests in these. Sorry, yeah, there are no rests in 251 patterns. So we try back fake books, and I think there we go. Coltrane patterns. There have got to be rests in these. There we go. So if you can see right here, I'll zoom in on it. So right there, that is our kind of, it looks a little bit like a 3. Our quarter rest. So that's maybe a little bit better example of how you would draw a quarter rest. I'll get rid of that. And that's review anyway. So that's what a quarter rest would look like. And then for a half rest, we had kind of gone over this example where if we have our 5 lines of music, the half rest, you would kind of make a hat out of this third line, like that. And then for a whole note, we said that, get rid of that. For a whole note, we said that again on our 5 lines of music. On this fourth line, we would make a hole. So if someone was walking along this top line, they would fall into this hole right here. So those are kind of that's the overview of the rest we already know. And now we're going to start dealing with this. Because in a previous video, I kind of gave you a bit of the concept of dealing with notes with flags on them. And the eighth rest, it kind of looks like, I'll draw what an eighth rest looks like, and then I'll sort of go into the concept of, having this flag on a note. An eighth rest just looks like that. So it looks kind of like a Y, but you should think about this more of a line with a flag on it, and the flag goes the other way. And I've actually got, I think I put it away. I've actually got an example, hopefully pretty ready. There it is. There is an example of an eighth rest that's professionally engraved. I'll zoom in on it a bit more. So there it is. As you can see, it kind of looks like a Y. The flag goes the opposite direction of an eighth note. This is actually an eighth note right next to it. And as you can see, kind of professional engraving makes these flags on eighth notes pretty long. So maybe I'll try to draw my flags a bit longer too. But, this is what I've been drawing. It's been a note with a head, a stem, and a flag on it. And then this is the equivalent rest. This is, a rest for the same amount of time that you would play this eighth note right here. So it kind of looks like a Y. Anyway, get rid of that. So anyway, you can kind of probably guess that, because I'm saying that you should think of this as a line with a flag on it, in a previous video I had told you kind of the concept behind putting flags on notes, where if you have a note with one flag on it, if you put another flag on it, you cut its value in half. So you can fit twice as many notes with 2 flags on them into the same amount of space that you could fit notes with one flag on them. So if you have, so, and this is review, but, if you have 2 eighth notes like that with one flag on them in the same space, you are able to fit 4 16th notes with 2 flags on them. And if you don't, hopefully you understand this, and if you don't, then you should go back and watch the video I made that explains, kind of explains the concept of putting flags on notes and shows how many eighth notes you can fit in a quarter note and how many 16th notes you can fit into eighth notes, and all of that hopefully is explained in a previous video, so if you want you can go back and watch that. But anyway, for right now, to show you sort of the equivalent rest, as I said, you should think of this eighth note rest, or this eighth note rest right here, as just a line with a flag on it. So you can probably imagine what the equivalent is, the equivalent rest would be for a 16th note. And that would just be pretty much a line, but with 2 flags on it, like that. And I'll try to find, and maybe like a little curly Q at the bottom, even though this should have kind of a little curled bottom like that too. And that is, let me see if I can really easily find a professional, actually probably I won't find any in there. Let me go to transcriptions. Who plays a lot? Oh, who would play? Probably, who would play a whole lot of 16th notes? Roy Hargrove. Roy Hargrove should play. Oh, why didn't it open? Sorry, this is taking a while. I just want to show you sort of a professional example of what a 16th note rest would look like. There's one, right there when we opened up. Right there when we opened up the file. So as you can see, it looks kind of like an eighth rest, where we've got like this little curly Q on the bottom, and we've got 2 flags coming off of it like that. So so anyway, that's a professional example of what a 16th note rest would look like. And you might be wondering a little bit. I'll do kind of an aside here, and hopefully, hope it's okay if you don't necessarily get this this example right now, because we'll do a whole bunch more actual musical examples that'll probably drive the concept home further. But you might be wondering, because we talked about in a previous video, and I'll do this in yellow for right now, and I'll kind of box this off so you know this is separate. We had talked about in a previous video about how we beam notes together, about how if we have 2 eighth notes like that, we would write those 2 eighth notes but with a beam over the top like that, and it just looks a little bit nicer on the page. So you might kind of be wondering, well, do we ever beam together an eighth rest, or do we have to beam eighth rests together? Like if we had 2 eighth rests in a row, would we be, beaming them together at all? And the answer is no, we wouldn't have to do that, because all we're doing, if we have 2 eighth rests, we would just be resting for a full quarter note. So instead of, we wouldn't have to beam together these 2 notes, we would just combine these 2 rests into a quarter rest. So hopefully that makes sense, and that, that makes sense because to the amount of time that it takes to play 2 eighth notes is equal to the amount of time that it takes to play 1 quarter note. So this I don't want to, this, these are actually equivalent right here. These two eighth notes and these two eighth notes, those are completely equivalent. So you would play these the same exact way. You would never hear a difference. These two, let me circle these in green maybe. These two over here, I'm just saying that the timing is equivalent. So the time that it would take to play two eighth notes is equivalent to the time it would take to play one quarter note. Oh, and I'm actually over my time limit, so I'll probably continue this in the next video. Thanks for watching.